When Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown launches on January 18th, players will be able to discover the Metroidvania-inspired Mount Kaf, a place where time has ceased to hold sway and monsters straight out of Persian myth roam the maze-like pathways. A labyrinthine, freely explorable 2.5D world filled with elaborate puzzles, strange phenomena, and no shortage of lethal spikes, Mount Kaf is the real star of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And while Sargon, youngest member of the Elite Immortals, certainly cuts a memorable figure with his paired swords and superhuman combat abilities, the diverse biomes and elaborate traps of the world he explores are what stayed with me after my most comprehensive hands-on with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown yet. But let's start with Sargon. Our hands-on preview threw Sargon and the Immortals into a prologue battle prior to their arrival at Mount Kaf. The battle's climax set Sargon against Uvishka, a towering general on horseback. Uvishka introduced us to the concept of vengeful counters. That is, if an enemy winds up with a glowing yellow attack, parrying it will let you throw it back in their face with a deadly counter of your own. Just be aware that if the enemy starts glowing red, that's your cue to dodge an imminent, unblockable attack. Following Uvishka's defeat, the titular Prince of Persia, Hassan, is kidnapped during the victory celebration and taken to Mount Kaf. The Immortals arrive to find that a disaster has warped time at the mountain, blending past with future and opening the door to strange new possibilities, leaving Sargon to pick his own way through the undead soldiers, spinning spike traps, and other dangers that lie in wait throughout Mount Kaf. Mount Kaf's lower city is where Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown begins in earnest, and where Sargon's full skill set begins to shine. An impressive leaper, Sargon can jump off just about any wall, provided it's not lined with spikes, and this comes in especially handy when he's near one of Mount Kaf's many horizontal flagpoles, which actually let you pick a direction before somersaulting off them. Sargon will also unlock a suite of powers that make him even more versatile over the course of the game, like the air dash, which he can trigger in mid-air to reach platforms or sail past obstacles that a normal jump just isn't enough to clear. The lower city has features you might expect from a Prince of Persia game: zombie soldiers ravaged by time, swinging spiked rollers, giant water-activated machinery, and lots of opportunities for acrobatic platforming. Once you leave the confines of the city, however, which you can do by fighting the undead prisoner, a massive oaf who swings a stone pillar like a club, out in the Hyrcanian forest, things start to get much stranger. Here, you'll likely stumble into a fight with Erlich, a giant corrupted boar who's easy to slip behind as he charges or vomits corrosive goo, but he's perfectly capable of kicking backward, so watch out. Erlich guards a bow, which technically belongs to Sargon's friend Menelaus, but it's a time-anomalous copy that Sargon finds on his own corpse in an event that hints at the extreme strangeness players will find in Mount Kaf's further reaches. This bow quickly becomes one of the most indispensable tools in Sargon's arsenal. Not only can it fire arrows in any direction, with just a hint of aim assist for hitting those moving targets, but it can target distant objects like the pulsing blooms at the heart of the forest's vine clusters, which can grow platform-like petals for you to jump across once triggered. The bow itself also folds into a boomerang-like chakram, which Sargon can toss at enemies or through barred openings to activate switches or gears, with the latter staying activated until Sargon calls the chakram back. Things get weirder in the Sacred Archives, where you'll find a maze of stairways that switch direction depending on which way you're facing. Manipulating them the way you want can be tricky, especially when the resident scholars, driven mad by the time anomaly, are continually hurling firebombs that can rapidly sap your health if you catch fire. Sargon's ability to slide backward comes in handy here, both for climbing stairs in reverse and for dipping away from the bombers. Once past the stairways, you may be faced with ghostly blue platforms that solidify only for as long as a nearby bell is ringing. Or you might meet the Jailer, a blind giant with keen ears who will chase you relentlessly if you make a noise within his radius of hearing. And if he catches you, you'll need to find your way out of the hazard-filled prison far below the archives. Should you manage to find your way back up and out of the Sacred Archives, your reward will be a meeting with Jahandar, a mythical manticore captured by King Darius who packs a highly venomous stinger in that scorpion-like tail, as well as a few magical attacks you might not be expecting from a giant man-eating monster. As you might have surmised by now, Mount Kaf is an extremely dangerous place. Luckily, Sargon can activate checkpoints in the form of whack-whack trees, which send out tendrils of beckoning light when they're nearby. Resting at a whack-whack restores Sargon's health and any health potions he's carrying, but that comes at the cost of making all the enemies you've killed reappear. If you're defeated in battle or meet the wrong end of a bladed trap too many times, you'll respawn at the last whack-whack tree you visited. And there also you can swap out Sargon's Athra attacks, which include things like energy waves and healing pools, powered by the Athra power built up from damaging enemies. You can also swap out his amulets, which grant new abilities, buffs, and other enhancements, so long as you've got enough slots in Sargon's necklace. Want an extra attack to cap off your combos or a boost to your attack power? You'll want to pay attention to amulets. Now, Mount Kaf isn't entirely hostile. As Sargon journeys through the labyrinth, he'll meet helpful NPCs who will sell treasures or provide other services for a price, like Faraba, the mysterious little girl who has the run of the place, and will share her knowledge by filling out Sargon's map once he reaches a new area. A device that will actually take a picture of your surroundings and drop it on the map. Don't remember what kept you from fully uncovering a partially explored area? Now it's easy to find out, provided you took a snapshot of it. You'll also meet others trapped in Mount Kaf who need your assistance. That is to say, who'll reward you if you take on side quests for them. Like the Moon Gatherer, who needs help finding pieces of the moon scattered around the mountain. Seems doable, sure. Sargon can also discover Homa statues that let him fast travel around the game world, and to a safe haven in the lower city, where players can get hints from Faraba, buy amulets and other essential upgrades from her grandmother the mage, or improve their weapons with the help of Kahiva, the Forge Goddess. As the adventure progresses, this will also be where players can find Artaban, a fellow immortal who becomes too injured to continue the search for the prince, but who's more than happy to provide you with tutorial lessons so you can hone your skills. Completing these will reward you with time crystals to use as currency, and can teach you how to do things like extend combos, along with other tricks for maximizing Sargon's combat effectiveness. Our journey through Mount Kaf's grandiose architecture and forbidding forests wouldn't have been complete without a visit to its sewers. A revolting maze of tunnels, spinning spike rollers, rat people, giant wasps, and acidic slime, where unexpected treasures lie in wait. But it was in the heights of the Upper Citadel that the adventure hit its climax. Sargon finally tracks down Prince Hassan, but in the process meets an unexpected enemy whose fighting prowess and command over time far exceed his own. We won't get into spoilers just yet, but suffice to say things look grim. Although hitting rock bottom, in this case literally, is an opportunity to crawl your way back up and discover more for yourself. And that's just the end of the first act. There are still plenty of mysteries to uncover in Mount Kaf, many of which are heavily influenced by the history and mythology of ancient Persia. For maximum immersion, you can even play in Farsi, with a fully voiced audio track you can switch to at any time. A world of strange surprises, unforeseen twists, and time-based trickery awaits, and you'll be able to confront Mount Kaf's mysteries yourself when Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown launches on January 18th for Switch, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, and Amazon Luna. Pre-order now at the Ubisoft Store or sign up for Ubisoft Plus to get 3-day early access.